So we'll place some objects here, and we want to see the top floor plan here because we want to see the outline of the mezzanine, so we just show it as a trace reference. So this is the area we want to put our objects essentially. We go to chair icon, and inside this we have a lot of chairs, we have couches, so we can use one of this. So see how it's seen in the plan, you can rotate these, you can put a point, you can put an anchor point, and then insert your sofas here. To mirror this, simply click on this point, go to mirror, tap on control so that you create a copy of the mirror and not mirror the original object. And you can put some other objects as well, put some chairs, make a copy of it. At a higher level, actually these were supposed to be on the ground floor level, but I think I put them on the first story. No, on the first story also I can put some objects, but I'll rather prefer putting it in 3D, so I'll do a marquee and say show selection in marquee 3D, and I can put the objects directly in 3D as well. So go to objects, put on the chair command, and only thing here actually we need to attach the objects to the slab, so we need to use a magnetize option, a gravitate option. So we say gravitate to slab, and you can simply hit on this like that, and the chairs are put. Also I need to put a railing here, so railing tool is over here. I can simply use a magic wand. I can do it in plan as well. So if I use a magic wand, it draws the railing all around the slab, but I don't want that. So I can simply click between point to point, double click there, and see the railing has been inserted. And you can then change the rotation of these chairs. You can click on the rotation and rotate them like this. However you want them. Okay, so that's about putting objects, and then the last thing you might want to do is put them under a layer. So create a new layer called furniture. Okay, and then select all these furnitures and put them under furniture layer. Okay. Now another thing that I want to show you in layers is there's something called as layer combinations. So how it works is, for example, sometimes you want to show only furnitures, you don't want to show the plumbing lines, or you don't want to show air conditioning ducts and all that. So then if I just create furniture here, and I need to make sure the furniture layer is on here, so all the settings will be saved under this. So if I create, let's assume we have plumbing lines and we have electrical layouts and all that. So likewise I will have separate layers here called electrical and plumbing. And let's assume there are objects under this. Okay, so now I've saved this as furniture, because the furniture layer was on. Fine. Now for plumbing, I don't want the furniture layer on. I need only the plumbing layer on, and I don't want the electrical layer. I want the electrical layer off as well, right? So now all the settings can be saved under the layer which is called as plumbing. Okay, and if I want, let's say now only electrical to be on, so then I put electrical on. I'll remove the plumbing, right? And then all this combination of this layers, whichever are on and off, are saved under a layer called electrical. Okay, so now if you see, if I want furniture layer to be on now, then everything else goes off. Plumbing goes off, electrical goes off, right? And accordingly all of the objects would be hidden whichever are in this layers. If I want to put electrical on, then plumbing goes off, electrical comes on, and furniture goes off. So likewise, this is a quick toggle between different layer combinations, which is very productive to be used in your projects. So there are some presets which are saved by Archicad already, mechanical, structural and all that. You could either go by this or you could create your own layer combination sets. So let me go back here and say show all, select all and show all. So select all and just simply click on an eye, and then I want to save, because all the layers are on, I want to save this as layers on, all layers on. And maybe I don't want the zone layer on, so I will just put off the zone layer, then go to all layers on here and then update it. So it will have all the layers on except for zone. So that's about layers. Now we have the building pretty much ready. Now we need to render this out, right? So first and foremost, we'll say show all in 3D, and we need to render this out now. There are a few artifacts like this which you can take care of it. You can take the slab slightly inside. So go to first story. Because the slab is lying exactly on these walls, that's why it's been seen. So you want to take it inside, you can just use an offset and take it inside like this. It won't be seen now. It is still seen in some parts of the terrace, but you can hide it here as well. So what we shall do is, I don't know how this working plane got shifted, but there is a way to move it down. So all I want to do is just click on this and say offset and take it down on this level. And now we need to apply some materials and render this out. Okay, so I will toggle on a toolbar called as 3D visualization. So right click on this toolbar and say 3D visualization, and the brushes that you see here are basically the ones that will apply material to this. So one way to apply material is basically select all of the elements that you want to apply material to. In this case it's all the walls. Select this wall icon and Control A, and it's not this that we are changing, because this only affects its material properties only in orthographic projections. You need to change it under surfaces. Okay, you need to highlight this because you need to change it, and you want to have the same color, so just lock this, and then you can select anything that you wish to have. Bricks, You see it has applied neatly, or some paints, anything that you wish to change it to. Other way of changing it is by using this paintbrush. If you click on this, then you have a palette of materials here. So you will then have to select a material here and then apply it on the walls, and you'll have to apply it on all the individual walls like this. Right, just like how you do it in SketchUp. Okay, you want to change some materials of the roof, then there are roof materials also. Come down, so roof tiles, change this, and you want to change the material of the roof, the scale of the roof. That's also possible, but not in this window. You have to close this and go to the other icon, surfaces, and so these are the materials that we applied. And there was a paint, I forgot which one was this. I guess it is this one. And we had a roof tile, I think roof tiles Dutch. So what you need to do is you need to select the materials here, and there are a lot of settings for this based on what material you are using. So if you are using metal, you will work with a lot of reflections and all of that. So these are detailed properties of the materials, and you can tweak this, you can change it as per your taste. It's slightly advanced level thing, but stuff like scale and other things also can be changed under this. Let me just see where the scale option is. Size. Yeah, so this is what you need to change here, and it would change over here, but I'm not sure whether this is the same material that I applied, so you know where it resides, so and you can play with it later. So applying materials can be done in two ways. One is by using a surface painter here, and the other way is to just change the material in the info box here. And once you have changed things, let me put a large ground here, so I'll just use a slab tool and just draw a large slab like this and change its thickness to 0. And we need to apply some greens to this, so select this and select the surface painter also, surface painter, and use some grass green. And you can see this material, it has realistic texture of grass, or you can simply change it here. Okay, grass as a material by default it has its own texture applied, so you want to change its texture, you can change it here. So grass green, brown, there it has changed. Now you want to render this out, right? So you go for an approximate good view like that. These two buttons are for rendering. So one is for render settings, you have detailed settings. So basically Archicad uses the rendering engine of Cinema 4D. Cinema 4D is a very high-end production software, just like 3ds Max and Maya, and it's created by the same company. Nemetschek is a company which has created Archicad and Cinema 4D, so they're using the same render engines. And you can see here there are basic settings that you can change, and there are detailed settings also. Go to detailed settings, there are a lot of tabs under this, and you can go to each one of those and do very detailed changes to the renderings. Yeah, but for y'all you can just use the basic ones for now, because there are some presets here, so you can simply use the presets and all the settings will be tweaked automatically. You can see the preview of the render here, whether it's a good render setting or not before you actually render it. And if you're pretty happy with it, you can just simply click on the render button here. Take some time and we'll render it. It's pretty fast. You can see here. It'll show you accurate shadows and sun direction and all that. And once this is rendered, you can actually save this as a file. So you can go to File, Save As, and then save it as any of the image formats. TIFF is generally very high resolution, but JPEG, PNG should be alright. So that's about the rendering. So essentially I clicked on the render setting here. I went to render settings button here and did a little bit of, did not do any changes, but you can decide what quality you want. The higher the quality, the render time will be higher. So you can decide based on how much time you have for the rendering. Okay. Lights and other things can be also changed. You really don't need to know all this. These are all detailed settings, advanced settings. So all you need to do is select Cine Renderer as the engine. If you want to do a sketch render, like how you do in SketchUp, you can do a sketch render as well, like something like this, and there are detailed settings for that as well. You can tweak this, you can play with this a little bit. You can hit render, get a sketch render, and then you can save it out. So essentially we need to use these two render engines and just hit render. So you don't have to every time go to render settings. You can just simply, if you know the settings already done, you just simply click on render and it will work. Okay, I'll just cancel this out since we had already done this before. So that covers very briefly actually about how to apply materials and how to render things out. Fine. Sometimes you might want to look at the model from inside, like a sectional perspective and stuff. You have to cut the model into different halves. So then that is done using this option called as 3D cutaway. So you just have to click on the scissor that you see on all the four sides and click it down like this and just orbit around. How do you orbit around? Holding shift and middle mouse button. So you want to save out this view, you can actually move this further down also if you want. If you're happy with this, just say finalize, and then it would cut everything else to that. And you can save this as a JPEG also. You can say save as and save it as a JPEG file. Yeah, you can even render this. So if you say hit render, you can render that out as well. So let's say you want to cut it also from sides, so you can click this. So there are the two cuts, one from the side, one from the top. So then you can save this out again. Fine. You want to retain these planes as it is, but quickly toggle them off so that you are able to see both the complete model and half cut model. So you can retain the planes and toggle it like that, or you can altogether delete these by simply holding on to this and just dragging them into the trash bins. So drag them in the trash bins and your model will regenerate. So that's about slicing planes. I showed you another way to quickly see your 3D view. If you want to see it from inside, you can use a marquee tool like this and cut it exactly into the building like that, so that it cuts through the building portion, and you will be able to see inside this dotted marquee. You just have to right click. Now the thing about this marquee is, if it shows a lighter marquee like this, it will show you only that flow. In this case it's going to be ground floor. But if you change this to a solid marquee here, it'll show you all the flows in that marquee below, right? So if I change it to a lighter one, that will show you only ground floor. No, let me see, show all in 3D. Let me just do it again and see. Yeah, maybe, yeah, the elements above on ground floor, which is your slab and other things, the furnitures are all hidden, they're not been shown. These walls are been seen because they were drawn in ground floor plan, and only the heights were adjusted, heights were increased. So the walls are not in the first story, there are walls of the ground floor as well. So if you want to change this to a double marquee and then check it out again, then it shows. Okay, so that's about marking. Next up we need to show, so I'll close this window because we have covered pretty much about this window, except that I'll show you some other things. Show all in 3D. Sometimes you want to see your model as a white model, and you can render also your model as a white model by going to render settings and going to, where is it, use white model effect, and it just looks like your physical model done in cardboard. Yeah, so it will be rendered exactly in this way. An alternate way of seeing your model in white model is going to 3D styles and changing it to white model with shadows. Sometimes your file size also increases, so this is a good way to reduce your file size and still work comfortably inside Archicad. In your simple shading, where some colors are muted, in detail shading all the true colors will be shown. Technical drawing will have a different view altogether. Wireframe, which we tried doing earlier also by going to layers and changing the layers into wireframe, so that's also possible. So now I'll just change it back to simple shading and save my file.